Hey everyone, my name is Sophie from Sophisticated Organization. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today's video is another Sophisticated Saturday where together we work through my to-do list and get things done around the house. I always am baking something on the weekends, cooking something. Today is no exception. And I really wanted to try making a basic scone recipe. I did have a basic scone recipe that had a few variations to it. Most of them were savory, and I wanted to cut half the recipe for the savory scones, and then the other half I wanted to save to be a sweet scone because my parents were just in Europe and they brought back some caramel sauce and some passion fruit sauce that I really wanted to try. It said it would be great on scones, so I figured might as well give it a try by making these scones. So I did double the recipe and then am, like I said, going to cut it in half and make one of it a cacio e pepe. So that means it's going to have pepper in it and fresh Parmesan cheese, and the other half I'm just doing plain. Honestly, you can follow any scone recipe you want. Once you have a basic scone, you can kind of get creative with it. You can do the savory route like I'm gonna do. You could add chocolate chips to it. I love raspberries and white chocolate chips in scones. That's one of my favorite. You could get a little bit festive with the holiday season, add in some cranberries and some orange zest. But basically, once you have a scone recipe that you like, then just go for it and start mixing different things in, play around with sweet and savory, and it's just a really fun thing to do. And scones truly are not that hard to make. I do want to get one of those tools to help incorporate cut butter a little bit better. So instead of having to do it by hand like this, I can mix it a little bit better, but you can also do it without any special tools. And again, not an overly difficult treat to make.
It sounds cliche. A blanket of this history covers me today. In between
Because I bake so often, I like to have powdered buttermilk on hand, and you can find it. I think I got this one actually on Amazon, but you can also sometimes find it in the grocery store. I just always find that when I have a recipe that calls for buttermilk, first of all, I never have fresh buttermilk in the refrigerator, and second of all, every time I buy fresh buttermilk from the grocery store, I end up wasting money because I don't use the entire thing. And these powdered buttermilks in baking typically taste pretty good to me. I don't really notice a difference, and they last a really long time in the fridge. So it's not something that I have to worry about wasting a lot of money by buying the powdered version. So now I have all of that mixed together. I am just incorporating it using my hands, kneading the dough a little bit and splitting it in half. Then I am going to start adding my Parmesan cheese that I have there. I didn't even measure it. And I'm also going to start adding in some fresh cracked pepper. Did not measure that either, and start incorporating that into that one half of the dough that I'm going to make the cacio e pepe version.
you lay easy on my mind, like a candle I just burn away.
With scones, you're going to make it into a flat circle and start cutting your wedges. Then you can place it on a parchment-lined baking sheet and pop it in the oven and cook it.
This time I don't wanna waste it on anybody. Take it with anybody.
With those in the oven, I am heading upstairs to make the bed, something I probably should have done first, but as long as it gets done in the earlier side of the day, I'm fine with it. And I did want to get those started in the oven so I can multitask a little bit. And while they cook, I am all about multitasking. So first up was making the bed, a pretty simple task there. And then I am off to our bathroom. I missed getting a few clips of cleaning the rest of it, but I did wipe down all of the countertops and the mirrors, as well as the light fixtures that we have that are right next to the mirrors because those do get a little bit dusty. I try and do this like once a week at least to wipe down the countertops, but it doesn't always get done. And then I also needed to clean the toilets today, so I'm just showing you cleaning one of the toilets, but I went around the rest of the house, sprayed it with a disinfectant, and I always try and let the disinfectant sit while I clean the inside of the toilet bowl, just because a disinfectant, like a true disinfectant, does take a while to actually work. You don't just spray and wipe it up immediately. So I just try and do that first so it has a moment to sit while I clean the toilet bowl and then go back and wipe it down.
You are brighter all the time. And I don't wanna waste it on anybody.
Today I also had a task of trying to clean out my Dyson. This is another thing I endeavor to do regularly. Doesn't always get done, but I was actually having issues with my Dyson that it wasn't spinning properly, and I could only get it to work if I was putting it on the highest mode, which is just really hard on it, really hard on the battery, and I want to be able to use my Dyson on all of the different levels and have it function properly. It's a very expensive vacuum, so I figured before I took the next step of troubleshooting or contacting Dyson that I would try and just clean out all of the different parts as well as I could, let it sit overnight, because if you do clean out your Dyson or your vacuum, you do want to let it dry completely, because you can have a whole bunch of other problems if you try and reassemble it while it's still wet. So the filter needs to be completely dried, all of the attachments need to be completely dried, and I can't speak for other vacuums, but Dyson is pretty easy to clean out, and most of the parts you can just clean with warm soap and water. So I felt like I did get a good clean on this, and I'm gonna spoil the story here. I let it dry overnight and it still did not work. So I contacted Dyson. I did a whole troubleshooting thing with them online where we went back and forth. They were having me add different attachments and take them off and try the power button when it was on different modes, all of these different things. And they basically decided that it was not functioning, and it was the main part of the Dyson. So it wasn't any of the parts that you could clean out that wasn't functioning. And I did have to reorder that part. It was just over $100, so much cheaper than a brand new vacuum, but still really unfortunate that my Dyson was no longer under warranty and we had to buy that new part. So I have that part ordered. Right now I can still use the vacuum on the high mode, but I am eagerly awaiting the new part of my vacuum because it feels like I am hindered in terms of cleaning right now. One of the other things I don't share that often that I always do on the weekends, sometimes on Saturdays, sometimes on Sundays, but we have 3 lunch boxes for Owen. He needs food 4 days a week. On Fridays, they provide food for him. They do pizza lunch usually on Fridays. So I have to get him lunch for 4 days of the week. And with 3 lunch boxes, I usually just start off the week with all 3 of them full, and then on Monday, after the first lunchbox comes home, I wash it and then get one more lunch in there for him. A lot of times I do leftovers for what we have and add in other things like fresh fruit and veggies in the smaller compartments for him, but whatever our main dish is usually what I put in that main section. Sometimes I cook things specifically for him. Other times I feel like I'm just kind of scraping by and doing something very simple like a peanut butter and jelly, which I am gonna do today. But you'll see I always try and get in a couple of fruits because he really loves fruits. I have some bell peppers that I'm chopping up so he can get some veggies in there. I also have some cucumber, and then I have fresh tzatziki dip that I am going to give him a little bit of dip with the veggies as well. He's totally in his dip phase. Any dip he's obsessed with. So giving him a little bit of a homemade tzatziki sauce. I'm hoping he'll enjoy that this week, but it's always a mystery what's going to come home with him. They don't throw away the food or anything that he doesn't eat, so I can tell exactly what he's eaten when he comes home, and I just laugh to myself sometimes. If you follow me on Instagram, this was a while back, but I shared that I made him a pasta and put peas intermixed in the pasta, And when I got the lunchbox back, he ate everything in his entire lunch except for the peas. He picked out all of the pasta and left the peas behind. And I couldn't decide if I was impressed with the fact that he was able to pick out each piece of pasta and deliberately leave the peas behind, or disappointed that he didn't eat the veggies. But either way, it's just kind of funny seeing every day what I get back. And you can also see that a lot of these lunches have similar items in them. I try not to make them exactly the same, just to give him a bit of a variety. But, you know, one day I'll send him with kiwis and he'll eat all of the kiwis, and the next day he'll come back with kiwis and won't have touched a single kiwi. It's just, I think, the way toddlers are, but it always keeps me entertained seeing what comes home.
Watching you search.
So for the main dishes, because I didn't really have anything that we made that he could have, I did do a peanut butter and jelly for one of the dishes. And then I also have on the stovetop there some water boiling, and I'm making him a pasta. I have frozen in the freezer some homemade butternut squash sauce that I made, and it's going to be like a butternut squash mac and cheese. So I froze it with butternut squash and milk, and I'm just going to add some cheese and make that pasta up for him for the week.
I never felt so free before. All that I could do was laugh. I couldn't hold it back. I couldn't hold it. I couldn't hold it back.
I don't know what happened there, but for some reason I did not get a clip of me taking the scones out of the oven or letting them cool, trying them, or putting them into Ziploc bags. I just divided them by the two different types that I made, the plain scones and these cacio e pepe ones. The cacio e pepe ones are delicious. I ate one so quickly right when it came out of the oven, and it was nice and warm. I'm gonna be making these 100% again, and the plain ones I haven't tried yet, but I wanna show you the jam or whatever it is that I was talking about that I'm gonna put on it. So these are the two things that my parents got that I thought would be really good to try. One is a passion fruit cream, and I guess maybe I could even try the vanilla bourbon caramel. I bet Jim would like this, and I'm gonna give this one a shot maybe later tonight when I want like a little sweet treat or something, or tomorrow, we'll see, but can't wait to give it a try.
Like I said, that butternut squash was frozen in my super cubes. If you don't know, I'm a huge fan of super cubes. They are so convenient. And I just popped one of the cubes out. It's the perfect portion for just a little bit of pasta for him. Added some milk to help it melt down a bit, and some fresh cheese.
When we're standing in the overflow, we were swimming with the silver moon, dancing like a maniac. Then we raced each other to
With that, I'm going to pack up his final two lunches for the week, and that is all we're going to do today. Very quick, sophisticated Saturday. A lot of it in the kitchen today, but that's sometimes how it works out with my free time on the weekends. I am just trying to quickly do some meal prepping and sometimes make a treat here and there while sneaking some cleaning in and quick picking up of the house. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. But until next time, I will see you all later.